All right, you guys, it is time to get those December budgets in the books. Literally, pen, paper, write it down. Let's make a plan. Let's make it happen. All right, in today's video, I'm going to take you guys behind the scenes and show you what is happening in our budgets for December. We're going to stuff our cash envelopes and update you guys on all of our financial goals and how we are doing coming into the end of the year. And of course, get ready for the silly season. So if you are new around here, if we haven't had the chance to hang out before, my name is Nikki. I'm a mum to 3. 2 of which, though, are technically, I suppose, adults now, really. We have a 19-year-old son. Our middle child is turning 18 at the end of this month. And we have a little girl who is turning 9 at the end of this month. So we actually have 2 of our 3 kids' birthdays between Christmas and New Year's. So as you can imagine, it's a pretty crazy full-on month at our place. So if you are new around here, then welcome. I hope that you will join us for a little bit of behind the scenes action here today. And if you like what you see and you'd like to hit that subscribe button, that would be a super awesome Christmas present for me. Thank you very much. I'd also like to do a really quick shout out to my friend Alan over at Alan Plans. Now, I happen to know that Alan has also done her budget video today. So if you'd like to head over there and check out her budgeting style, that would be super awesome. So if you guys haven't caught one of our budgeting videos before, there are a couple of things that you probably need to know. So first of all, we do a month ahead budget. So we budget for the month ahead, but what we also do is we stockpile all of our income from one month, and then that is what we use to live off for the coming month. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about December's budget, but in fact, what we are doing is dividing up all of November's income. So all of our income from December is going to go into what we call our holding tank account, and it's going to sit there and accumulate until the 1st of January. And then that's the income that we will use to live off in January. The other thing is that we do a split budget, which means some of our expenses are paid via our card or BPay or direct deposits, all of that sort of online jazz. But we do a portion of our budget which is cash based, and we like to use cash envelopes for all of the variable expenses in our budget, things like groceries and eating out, personal spending money, all of that sort of stuff. Now, I know a lot of people do not actually budget like us. Most people will budget from one pay to the next. So if that's you, you might be really interested in checking out Alan's channel. She has a ton of budgeting videos, cash stuffing videos. She also does a heap of other things like grocery hauls and meal planning videos. There's lots of great content over there that I know you guys are going to enjoy. But Alan actually uses the Budget Mums Budget by Paycheck book, and they budget fortnightly. So if you'd like to see all of that in action, then head over to Alan's channel and say g'day. And if you actually happen to be popping past here from Alan's channel, then I'd like to say a special g'day to you guys. Thank you so much for popping past and checking out how we budget. I know that it is a little bit different, but I hope you guys get some tips and tricks and maybe a little bit of inspiration of how you could possibly manage your money. It might be a little bit different to what you are currently doing and what you're currently thinking. Which is one of the great things that I do love about this community here on YouTube. We're all sharing what we're doing, and I learn so much from you guys and watching other YouTubers, and all of that inspiration and sharing really is how we've come to find a budgeting system that works for our family and keeps us on track with our financial goals, which at the end of the day really is what it's all about. All right, well, that's enough from me. Let's jump in and actually have a look at what is happening in our budget this month. All right, let's jump in real quick and have a look at December's budget. If you guys have not seen this before, this is just the budgeting sheet that we use. It is something that we've come up with from trial and error and using a bunch of different, or trying out a bunch of different budgeting techniques and tips and tricks, and this is what we've come up with, which is what works for us. So we like to start out each month by looking at our financial snapshot, where we go through and we have a look at where we're standing financially. We list out everything that is in our sinking funds and savings accounts and retirement funds. That gives us an idea of where we are with our net position. And we look at our goals, and this is how we focus on our bigger pictures and keep moving our family's finances towards our goals and making sure that we're staying on track. Now these days we are completely debt free, so we've paid off all of our debts. We don't owe anyone any money for anything. But back when we were paying off debt, that was one of the things that we used to track as well. So instead of our savings accounts, we would actually list out all of our debts, and we paid them off using the Dave Ramsey snowball method, and that's what worked for us. So these days, now that we are completely debt free and we're focusing on our other financial goals, then we've actually replaced our debts with savings accounts, and these are things that we're working and saving towards, as opposed to all of our sinking funds. Our sinking funds are a way for us to manage basically our ongoing expenses. So we will set up sinking funds for any expenses that we have that are ongoing, that we can't cash flow in a single month. The other thing that I like to do is I like to track all of our bills, and this is what I do down the bottom. I don't track our month-to-month bills. Anything that we do regularly on a monthly basis, that just comes out of our spending plan. So things like our phone bill, which is paid monthly, I don't bother putting that down here because it's the same every month, but I use this to track things that are quarterly or yearly bills or expenses that are out of the ordinary. And then that way I can actually look back on this in years to come, and it helps me forward plan a lot better when it comes to my next budget. So in sitting down and working out our December budget for this year, I'm also looking at December's budget from last year, and I'm also looking at January and February so that I can see what might be coming up so that we can get ready for that as well. One of the main things that we really like to do is to set a goal and a monthly target, things that we are working towards, so that it keeps us focused on the bigger picture. So our two really big goals that we're working on at the moment, first of all, is we are saving up $3,000 to get our gearbox reconditioned for our four-wheel drive. We're pretty much there with that, and the bulk of our snowball from this month is going to go towards the gearbox. The other thing is we are saving up for a house. So we have $60,000 in our house savings account, and our next big goal is to hit 75. Now we're not going to do that this month. I mean, that would be really nice, but it's going to take us a while to get there. But what we've done is we've taken our really big goal of saving up $100,000 and we've broken it down into smaller targets. So our next big target that we're working towards is 75. So we keep that focused. Our monthly target though is really just to keep Christmas and the December birthdays under budget and to stick to the plan. I'm going to be okay with not really putting a lot towards our house deposit this month if I can make it through Christmas, make it through the birthdays, get the gearbox in the car fixed, and we call it a day. Then I really feel like we're still moving forward. And then 2021 we'll really start working on this big goal of hitting our next target in our really big goal of saving up for a house. So that is pretty much the breakdown of what's happening on this page. Over here on our spending plan is where we basically sit down and divide up all of the income that we have accumulated in our holding tank account over the month of November. we're dividing this all up on the 1st of December, and then this is what we're going to live off in December. Partly this is some pretty stock standard stuff that doesn't really change, and one of the things we really like to do is to use sinking funds as a way of managing our money. So month to month we just deposit basically the same amount into our sinking funds, and then we pay for any expenses out of those sinking funds. So for example, every month we put $350 into our car maintenance sinking fund, and then if we need to do anything with our cars, for example pay registration or insurance or servicing or tires, then that is going to come out of our car maintenance account rather than our budget. So one of the big ones that's going to get used this month is going to be our gifts sinking fund. So every month we put $50 across into our gifts sinking fund. So I will be using all of the money that is in our gift sinking fund, plus I'm going to add to that all of the money that we have accumulated on our Flybuys and Woolies cards. So technically it's not actually cash, it's not money, it is points that we are going to be redeeming that we can then spend in store, but it is going to be equivalent to about $290 at this point. So I'm going to cash out all of that, and I'm going to add that to the amount that we have to spend on gifts in December. The other big thing that is happening out of this month is that we do have Grayson's 18th happening at the very end of the year. So I'm going to put an extra $100 into our gifts sinking fund just so that we have a little bit extra cash to spend for Grayson's 18th. All right, so before we move on to our cash envelopes, just really quick, because I know this question comes up a lot. So basically this is how we run our budget. We have sinking funds, which is how we pay for the majority of the things that are on our card. And we do pay for expenses like utilities, phone, internet, all of those sorts of things actually come out of our account as either a BPay payment or a direct debit or something like that. We only use cash for our variable expenses. They are the things that have, generally speaking, have multiple purchases per week or per month and are hard to track unless you write every single thing down. And I'll be honest with you guys, that is not my strong suit. Remembering to write down each transaction and keeping a running tally of how much I've spent for each category is not what I'm good at. So that system isn't really something that works really well for me. What I'm better off doing is using cash and cash envelopes, which then just puts boundaries in place for all of these things, and I can see exactly how much I've got left. I can work out how much I've spent, but more importantly, I can take a quick peek in my wallet and I can see exactly how much I've got left to spend in each one of these categories, which is why we do a split budget. And this is basically how we split it. And I think it's really important to know that if you're going to use cash envelopes, I know a lot of people feel like it's sort of an all or nothing approach, and it really doesn't have to be. Most of the people that I know who have success with cash envelopes have success because they actually run a split budget like this. They do some in cash and they do some in card. So do what works to your strengths and do what makes your budgeting easier. So let's go ahead and stuff some cash envelopes. All right, well, this month is the first month that I'm actually officially stuffing my brand new Treasury Cash wallet. So I did receive this about halfway through November. I've transitioned over, but this is the first time you guys are actually seeing it in action. So this is chocked full, as you can see. It is full of cards and it is full of cash envelopes, and let's go ahead. I might just move you guys up just a smidge so you can see a little bit better. And we're going to go and put the cash portion of our budget into my cash envelopes. Now, this month, our cash envelopes are actually quite light on. I'm not going to be doing a lot of cash, primarily because I really want to focus on those savings goals, and we need to get through Christmas, New Year's and those birthdays. So I have decided to continue at this point to use my cash envelopes themselves in this cash wallet, because I found a really interesting thing happened, and that was when I opened this up and saw a whole heap of pretty pineapples. And if you guys, are from different countries, I know people always comment on how pretty Australian money is because it's so colourful. So I open this up and I see a whole heap of yellow and orange and blue, and I think to myself, oh my gosh, you've got so much money to spend. And that is not a good thing for Nikki. One of the reasons why I like using cash and cash envelopes is because it really keeps me restrained in these budgeting areas. If I see it and I see it all grouped together, and this is the problem on my card, if I see it all grouped together and I see what looks like a big amount of money, I think nobody's going to notice if I just spend $10 or $15. But you do that enough times and you most certainly do notice it, because all your money starts disappearing. So I have opted to cut down my cash envelopes. These are just the old ones that I was using, and I've just cut them so that they now fit in my wallet, so that I can actually put my cash in these and I can't see it. So one of the things, I can't stress this enough, is you guys have to be prepared to do and change and do whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you are being disciplined. So for me, I can admit that if I see all of this in my wallet, I'm going to want to spend it. So I need to hide it from myself. So this is what I do. All right, that's enough from me. All right, let's talk about what we're going to fill this week. What we're going to fill this month. So we are going to do splash cash. We are opting not to spend any money on dates or our budget meeting date night again this month. So no money is going into that one. I will be putting some into personal care, clothing, miscellaneous. I think is actually just going to stay on the card this month just because of everything that's happening. I'm not going to put any money into miscellaneous. In cash, sometimes that's one that we split, and we'll have some cash and we'll have some access on the card. This month, I think I'm just going to keep it on the card because of everything that's going on. Eating out, we are not going to put any money into eating out as well, or family fun. We've got enough other stuff going on that this month is going to be pretty full on, so we're not going to put any money aside for family fun activities or travel or anything like that. We will need to put some money aside for fuel, for groceries, and interestingly enough, alcohol is also one that we are not going to put any money into, because what I am going to do is use our Woolies points. So no cash, but I will be cashing out our Woolworths rewards and using that for our alcohol for Christmas and New Year's. All right, so let's jump in and see where we're at in these. November was a really interesting month. So I allocated $400 for our groceries, and then we did a $50 a week low spend pantry challenge freezer clean out type thing, and only spent $200. So I still have $200 of November's grocery budget left. Sometimes when I do these sorts of challenge, what I will do is I'll actually take all of that cash and I will put it back into our savings account. So for example, this would be great to put into our house savings account. But this month, what I've decided to do is I'm going to cut back December's grocery budget. So we're going to allocate $400 again, but I only need to add another $200 from our December budget to bring it back up. So we have $400 for groceries for December. And I'm going to kickstart December by continuing our $50 low spend grocery budget challenge, for want of a better term, and see if we can get another week or two with a really low spend, which is going to leave me more money for Christmas and New Year's. But I do also have points to cash out on our Flybuys card, which I will be converting to Flybuys dollars, which I can use at the grocery store. I can use it at Coles, but I can also use it at Target and Kmart to buy gifts and Christmas presents and things like that. But $400 in cash, we have some Flybuys points, and we're just going to make it work. All right, next up is fuel, and we actually did not spend very much of our fuel allocation at all. So I still have $110 left in our fuel envelope. We didn't really go anywhere in November, really. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I could put this into savings and then reallocate a new $150. Or what I could do is just bump this back up to $150. So what I'm actually going to do is take the 10, because I need that for another category, and put in a new 50. So I had in my budget initially said $40 for fuel to bring it back up to $150, but I need $10 to go into personal care, which I'm going to do next. So then that has the correct amount as well. So $150 for fuel, and again I only had to put $50 out of this month's budget in there. So let's have a look. Personal care. This covers things like haircuts, for me mainly, but it also covers big purchases of things like shampoo and conditioner, anything that you class as personal care. Even if you buy it from the supermarket, I won't take it out of groceries, so that's why this actually is, probably should say food, but I prefer to keep our personal care separate to our groceries, and then just use our grocery envelope really just for food for main meals. We don't even have treats come out of this so much. It really just is for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and healthy snacks. As for, I don't know, yeah. All right, so $80 for personal care, and that one is done. All right, again, we are going to put $50 into our clothing allocation. This is technically a sinking fund, because I just let this build up, and then when we need clothes or shoes, we have money put aside as a family to do that. Now, this really is just for myself, my husband, and our daughter, because our two older boys both work, so they buy all of their own clothing and stuff like that now, because the stuff that Mum buys isn't cool enough. So they've got money, they can do it themselves. So last of all, we have our personal spending money, which we call splash cash, and every month Shan and I get $50 each just to go and spend on whatever we want. So my splash cash will go into my envelope, Shan's is just going to go into his wallet, and then this is what we use as our personal spending money for whatever we want. And the thing with this that we have found is that we do a couple of things with splash cash. We sometimes save it if we want to save up to buy something. This is what we use if we want to buy treats. So ice cream, chocolate, cookies, all of that sort of stuff from the supermarket actually comes out of our splash cash, not from our grocery allowance. So snacks that you would consider treats actually come out of our splash cash. And that's been really good for two reasons. One, it helps the grocery budget not blow out, but two, it kind of helps our waistlines not blow out too, because it has to come out of our own personal spending money. Excuse me, getting a bit croaky. Now, the other thing that we will do with this too, because I know I get asked about this a lot, like we haven't actually allocated any money for eating out or family fun. And even to a certain extent, miscellaneous and date night. So we will often use our splash cash if we want to eat out or grab a coffee while we're out and about or something like that. But what we have found is, because we're not specifically allocating money to these things, then we're not really that concerned about doing it. If I put $20 into eating out for coffees, I am more than likely to spend it. But if I say to myself, all right, I'm going to take $10 out of my splash cash and Shan's going to take $10 out of his splash cash to buy coffees, then I don't know, the appeal of the coffees isn't quite as much as what it was before. So again, it's just a really interesting way that we have found that we can sort of rein in our spending in certain areas. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to do these things, particularly if we know that we're going to want to do those. But in this case, I know that December is really full on for us. We're going to be so busy that we're not going to miss doing these sorts of things. So we have agreed not to fund these again. We will be putting a little bit aside for miscellaneous, but that is going to stay on our ATM card as opposed to being in cash. Otherwise, family fun, eating out and date night, we are just going to find ways to do it for free. I mean, we have takeaway coffee cups at home. I'm sure that we can make coffee at home and just take it with us. And same with date night. We could go on a date and just take a picnic from home. There are ways to do this without having to actually fund it. So yeah, they are our cash envelopes for the month of December. There we go. All right, well, there you have it. That is December's budget in a nutshell. Like I said, there isn't a whole lot going on because we really are focusing on, first of all, getting through the silly season, getting through all of Christmas and New Year's and those birthdays. We do need to pay to get that gearbox fixed, which is happening this month. And of course, working towards that massive goal of paying for our house 100% outright with cash. It is going to take us a couple of years to get there, but with focus and determination, I'm 100% certain that it will be a reality at some point. And I guess that's the thing. That is how you make really big goals happen, is that we just need to focus on it. We need to have a game plan and we just need to see it out. And as always, if you did enjoy today's video, if you could please give it a thumbs up. I really would appreciate that. It helps me know the kind of content that you guys are enjoying and what you would like to see more of. And if you would like to see more of these sorts of videos, I really hope you would consider subscribing. It is the best way to be notified of my new videos when they come out. And you know what? If you want to hang out some more, you can always come and find me over on Instagram or Facebook. I would love to get to know you a little bit better, so why don't you pop past and say g'day. All right, well, that is it from me today. I do need to go and actually finish all the tasks in my budget, send all that money where it's got to go, and tick off December's budget as done. All right, well, I hope to see you in the next video, and until then, have a great week. Bye.